Some everyday habits seem completely normal in the West, so normal that most people never stop to think about them. But in Japan, those very same behaviors can come across as rude, disrespectful, or simply confusing. That's because Japanese culture places a strong emphasis on courtesy, harmony, and consideration for the people around you, often in ways that can surprise first-time visitors. Now, this isn't about saying one culture is better than another, and not every Japanese person will react the same way. It's simply a fascinating look at how different social norms shape everyday life. So, let's count down 15 Western habits that often leave Japanese people genuinely surprised. Talking loudly in public. If you've grown up in a Western country, speaking loudly in public probably feels completely normal. Conversations on trains, laughing with friends in cafes, chatting on the phone while walking, or talking across a restaurant are all part of everyday life. Most people barely notice because it's simply how they're used to interacting. In Japan, though, the atmosphere is often very different. Shared spaces are seen as places where everyone deserves peace and comfort, so people naturally keep their voices low. On trains and buses, many passengers speak quietly or choose not to talk at all, and phone calls are generally avoided to avoid disturbing others. It's not because people are unfriendly or conversation is discouraged. It's about showing consideration for everyone sharing the same space. For many visitors, this quiet culture can be surprising at first, but lowering your voice is one of the easiest ways to show respect, blend into local life, and better understand the thoughtful social etiquette that shapes everyday life in Japan. Wearing shoes indoors. For many people in Western countries, wearing shoes inside the house is completely normal. Unless a homeowner specifically asks you to take them off, most people simply walk in without giving it a second thought. It's just part of everyday life. In Japan, however, the expectation is almost the exact opposite. Shoes are considered something that belongs outdoors because they've picked up dirt, dust, and germs from the streets. Bringing them inside is seen as unhygienic and disrespectful, especially since the home is viewed as a clean, peaceful space where people relax, eat, and sometimes even sleep on floor bedding. That's why you'll find a designated entrance where shoes are removed before stepping inside. This custom also extends to many temples, traditional inns, schools, and some restaurants. For visitors, forgetting can be an easy mistake, but understanding the reason behind it makes the tradition feel completely natural. Taking off your shoes is a simple gesture that shows respect for the home, the people in it, and the cultural values that place cleanliness and consideration at the heart of everyday life. Public nose blowing. In many Western countries, blowing your nose in public is generally seen as the polite thing to do. If you have a runny nose, most people would rather you use a tissue than continue sniffling. Whether you're on a train, sitting in a cafe, or walking down the street, it's considered a normal part of everyday life, and very few people think twice about it. In Japan, however, the social expectation is quite different. Blowing your nose loudly in front of other people can be viewed as unpleasant or even disrespectful. Instead of doing it openly, many people prefer to excuse themselves and step into a restroom or another private space before taking care of it. The goal isn't to pretend you don't have a cold. It's simply to avoid making those around you uncomfortable. To many visitors, this can seem a little surprising at first. After all, they're trying to be hygienic, not rude. But Japanese etiquette often places a strong emphasis on being mindful of how your actions affect the people sharing the same space. Even small behaviors that attract attention or create discomfort are generally avoided whenever possible. Interestingly, visitors sometimes notice that people in Japan may sniffle quietly rather than blow their nose in public. While that might seem unusual to someone from the West, it's often considered the more considerate choice in that cultural setting. If you're traveling in Japan and need to blow your nose, it's usually best to step away for a moment if you can. It's a simple adjustment, but one that shows respect for local customs. Understanding little differences like this not only helps you avoid awkward moments, but also gives you a deeper appreciation of the thoughtful etiquette that shapes everyday life in Japan. Tipping after service. In many Western countries, leaving a tip is simply part of the experience. Whether you're eating at a restaurant, staying in a hotel, or taking a taxi, adding a little extra to the bill is often expected and seen as a way to thank someone for great service. In some places, people automatically calculate the tip before they've even reached for their wallet. It's such a normal part of everyday life that most people never question it. In Japan, though, things work very differently. Tipping is generally not expected, and trying to leave extra money can actually create an awkward situation. A server may politely return it, believing you've made a mistake or forgotten your change. That's because excellent service isn't viewed as something that deserves a bonus. It's simply the standard. People take genuine pride in doing their jobs well, and offering respectful, attentive service is considered part of the profession itself. For many first-time visitors, this can be surprisingly difficult to adjust to. You're only trying to show appreciation, but the most meaningful way to do that in Japan isn't with money. A warm smile, a sincere thank you, or a small bow is often all that's needed. It's a simple cultural difference, but one that says a lot about how service, respect, and professionalism are viewed. Instead of rewarding good service with extra money, Japan builds that high standard into everyday life from the very beginning. Eating while walking. In many Western countries, eating while walking is completely normal. Grabbing a sandwich, a coffee, or a quick snack on the way to work is simply part of a busy lifestyle. Most people don't think twice about it because it's convenient, practical, and helps save time during a hectic day. In Japan, however, the habit is often viewed differently. While you'll occasionally see people eating at festivals or in designated areas, it's generally more common to finish your food before continuing on your way. The reason isn't that eating on the move is forbidden. It's about being considerate of the people around you. Walking while eating can create litter, slow foot traffic, or accidentally inconvenience others in crowded spaces. Japanese culture places a strong emphasis on respecting shared public areas, and this is one small example of that mindset. For visitors, it may seem unusual at first, but it's an easy custom to appreciate. Taking a few minutes to stop, enjoy your meal, and then continue your journey isn't just polite. It also lets you slow down and experience the food with a little more attention, something many locals value every day. Speaking casually to strangers. In many Western countries, starting a conversation with a stranger is completely natural. You might chat with someone while waiting in line, make a casual comment at a bus stop, or strike up a friendly conversation with the person sitting next to you on a train. These brief interactions are often seen as polite and welcoming, and they're simply part of everyday life. In Japan, however, social interactions tend to be a little more reserved. People generally value personal space and quiet respect, especially when they're around someone they don't know. That doesn't mean they're unfriendly. It simply means they prefer not to interrupt others without a reason. For first-time visitors, this can feel surprising, and a friendly conversation may be met with a polite smile or a short reply. But that's not a sign of rejection. It's simply a different way of showing respect. Once you get to know people, many Japanese are incredibly warm, thoughtful, and generous. So if you're visiting Japan, don't mistake quietness for coldness. Give relationships time to grow, and you'll often discover friendships that feel genuine, meaningful, and unforgettable. Showing too much emotion in public. In many Western cultures, showing your emotions openly is completely natural. People laugh loudly when something is funny, celebrate exciting moments with enthusiasm, and don't usually think twice about expressing surprise, frustration, or excitement in public. Being expressive is often seen as a sign of confidence and authenticity. In Japan, however, public behavior tends to be a little more reserved. People still experience the same emotions, but they're often expressed in quieter, more subtle ways, especially around strangers or in shared public spaces. The focus is less on standing out and more on helping everyone around you feel comfortable. That's why loud reactions or overly animated behavior can sometimes feel out of place. It doesn't mean Japanese people aren't warm or fun. They absolutely are. Spend time with friends or family and you'll see plenty of laughter and genuine emotion. The difference is simply knowing when and where it's appropriate. If you're visiting Japan, matching the calm atmosphere is a small but meaningful way to show respect and better appreciate the culture you're experiencing. Giving very direct opinions. In many Western countries, being direct is often considered a strength. People are encouraged to say what they think, express their opinions honestly, and communicate clearly to avoid misunderstandings. Whether it's giving feedback at work, declining an invitation, or disagreeing during a conversation, speaking openly is usually seen as respectful because everyone knows exactly where they stand. In Japan, however, communication often takes a gentler approach. Instead of saying everything outright, people may choose softer words, subtle hints, or indirect expressions to protect harmony and avoid making others feel uncomfortable. The goal isn't to hide the truth, it's to deliver it with care. For visitors, this can sometimes be confusing. A response that seems vague may actually be a polite way of saying no, while silence or hesitation can carry just as much meaning as words. That's why listening closely is just as important as speaking. Understanding these unspoken signals helps you appreciate a culture where kindness, respect, and preserving good relationships often matter just as much as getting straight to the point. Sitting or lying in public places. In many Western countries, sitting however you feel comfortable in public is completely normal. People might stretch out on a bench, put their feet up while waiting at an airport, or relax across a train seat without thinking much about it. Most of the time, no one pays any attention because it's simply seen as a personal choice. In Japan, however, the way you carry yourself in shared spaces reflects your respect for the people around you. Public areas are meant to be enjoyed by everyone, so people generally try to sit neatly, avoid taking up extra space, and keep their posture considerate of others. Resting your feet on seats or sprawling across furniture can come across as careless, even if no disrespect is intended. It's not about following strict rules, it's about being mindful of the shared environment. If you're visiting Japan, paying attention to how locals use public spaces is a simple way to understand the culture. Small gestures like sitting neatly and respecting shared furniture quietly show consideration, and that thoughtfulness is something deeply valued throughout everyday Japanese life. Using your phone loudly. In many Western countries, hearing someone talking on the phone, watching videos without headphones, or playing music in public isn't especially unusual. While it may annoy a few people, it's often accepted as part of everyday life. In Japan, however, the expectation is very different. Public spaces are shared by everyone, so keeping noise to a minimum is seen as a simple way of showing respect. That's why you'll rarely hear loud phone conversations on trains or buses. If someone has to answer a call, they'll usually keep it short, speak quietly, or wait until they've stepped off before continuing the conversation. The same courtesy applies to music and videos. Most people use headphones and make sure the volume is low enough that no one else can hear it. It's not about restricting personal freedom. It's about making the journey more comfortable for everyone. If you're visiting Japan, putting your phone on silent and carrying a pair of headphones are easy habits to adopt. They're small gestures, but they reflect one of the country's strongest values: being thoughtful, respectful, and aware of the people around you every day. Failing to bring small gifts. In many Western countries, visiting someone's home empty-handed is completely normal. Unless it's a birthday, holiday, or special celebration, most hosts don't expect guests to bring anything. If someone arrives with flowers, dessert, or a bottle of wine, it's certainly appreciated, but it's usually seen as a thoughtful bonus rather than an unwritten rule. In Japan, however, small gifts carry much greater social meaning. When visiting someone's home, meeting family members, or even returning from a trip, it's common to bring a modest gift as a sign of gratitude and respect. It doesn't have to be expensive or elaborate. A neatly wrapped box of local sweets or a simple souvenir is often more than enough because the thought behind the gesture matters far more than its price. It's a quiet way of saying, "I appreciate your hospitality and I was thinking of you." If you're invited to a home in Japan, bringing a small gift is an easy way to make a positive impression. It's a simple tradition that reflects the importance of kindness, appreciation, and maintaining strong relationships through thoughtful, everyday gestures. Eating very casually in formal settings. In many Western countries, mealtime etiquette is fairly relaxed. Unless you're attending a formal dinner or special occasion, most people simply eat in whatever way feels natural. The focus is usually on enjoying the food, sharing conversation, and spending time together, rather than worrying about every detail of table manners. In Japan, however, dining is often approached with a little more care. Many customs are rooted in showing respect for the meal, the people you're eating with, and the effort that went into preparing the food. Simple habits like using chopsticks properly, handling dishes thoughtfully, and paying attention to how food is served all reflect that sense of appreciation. For visitors, it might seem intimidating at first, but perfection isn't expected. Most people simply appreciate a sincere effort to be respectful and open to learning. Taking a moment to observe those around you before you begin eating can go a long way. In Japan, a meal isn't just about satisfying your appetite, it's also a chance to show gratitude, mindfulness, and consideration. Those small gestures often leave the strongest impression. Not removing trash properly. In many Western countries, finding a public trash bin is something people rarely think about. Whether you're walking through a park, exploring a shopping street, or waiting for a train, there's usually a bin nearby for your coffee cup, snack wrapper, or receipt. It's a convenience most people take for granted. Japan, however, often surprises first-time visitors. Despite having some of the cleanest streets in the world, public trash bins can be surprisingly difficult to find. Instead of throwing rubbish away immediately, many people simply carry it with them until they get home or reach a proper disposal point. That habit reflects a deeper sense of personal responsibility. Rather than expecting public spaces to stay clean on their own, people see it as their duty to take care of the waste they create. As a result, littering is extremely uncommon, and the streets remain remarkably tidy. If you're visiting Japan, don't be surprised if you end up carrying an empty bottle or wrapper for a while. It may feel unusual at first, but it's a simple way of respecting the shared environment. In Japan, keeping public spaces clean isn't just the government's responsibility. It's something everyone quietly helps achieve together. Being overly assertive with service workers. In many Western countries, speaking up when something goes wrong is often seen as the right thing to do. If a meal is incorrect, a service falls short, or a product doesn't meet expectations, most people feel comfortable raising the issue straight away. Asking questions, negotiating, or making a complaint is generally viewed as being confident and practical. In Japan, however, these situations are usually handled a little differently. People certainly address problems when necessary, but they often do so with a calm tone, polite language, and careful consideration for the other person's feelings. The goal isn't to avoid the issue, it's to resolve it without creating unnecessary tension or embarrassment. For visitors, this difference can be surprising. A level of assertiveness that feels perfectly reasonable back home may come across as overly forceful in Japan. That's why patience and courtesy often lead to better results than frustration or demands. If you're traveling there, remember that respect is one of the most effective forms of communication. A calm, thoughtful conversation will usually be appreciated and is often the quickest path to finding a solution. Ignoring group harmony. And finally, we've reached what may be the biggest cultural difference of them all. In many Western countries, personal choice and individuality are highly valued. People are encouraged to express themselves, follow their own path, and make decisions based on what feels right for them. In Japan, however, there's often a stronger focus on how those choices affect the people around you. Before acting, many people naturally consider the group, whether it's family, co-workers, friends, or even strangers sharing the same space. That mindset quietly shapes everyday life, from standing in line and riding public transport to speaking in public and working as a team. It doesn't mean people don't have unique personalities or independent opinions. They certainly do. The difference is that individuality is often balanced with consideration for others. For many visitors, this is the lesson that leaves the deepest impression. You begin to notice that respect isn't shown only through words, but through small, thoughtful actions. In many ways, that's the heart of Japanese culture. A belief that communities thrive when people think not only about themselves, but about everyone around them. And that wraps up our countdown of 15 Western habits that can genuinely surprise people in Japan. Some of these differences may seem small at first, while others reflect much deeper cultural values. Together, they remind us that the most fascinating parts of a culture aren't always found in famous landmarks or historic temples. They're often hidden in the simple routines of everyday life. That's what makes travel so rewarding. It challenges the way we see the world and helps us understand that what feels completely normal in one country can mean something entirely different in another. There's no right or wrong, just different ways of living shaped by history, tradition, and shared values. The more we understand those differences, the easier it becomes to travel with respect and appreciation. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and join us for more fascinating journeys into cultures from around the world. And before you go, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Which of these 15 habits would be the hardest for you to change if you were living in Japan? Let us know in the comments below.